2.5 seconds to even get close to Luca Marini and then try and find a man away past the Italian, which is easier said than done with the acceleration moment of the Ducatis. Vignales probably won't have any concerns now about Miller. He's seen Miller come back to this group quite quickly. Miller just has not had the pace as he played 5 months ago. You do feel that that might be as good as lights out, and we are going Spielberg. Superb start from pole position once again by Pecco Bagnaia. Now they've just needed the sprint yesterday. Really good start well by Luca Marini. He's up the side, takes the other, leading across the rear. Big moment for the number 10. That's going to break up the field. As Bagnaia think they're clear.
Vignales got away better that time, but he just got completely beaten up into the first corner. Alex Marquez came on the inside of it, and Vignales had to check up. Look how far back he is. He's behind Bastianini and his teammate.
Absolutely disaster for Vignales. Top of the hill into turn number 3. Vignales down 11th place through the first sector. Close there between Marquez and Marini. Marini got a really good launch up the line. From 6th to 31st, will be in a big scare. Lit up that rear time, the exit. He's pretty fortunate on the high side there.
Whatever Ducati found on the start system, it's clearly working a treat, isn't it? Because Pecco Bagnaia is clear of the KTMs. Brad Binder and Jack Miller second and third. Then it's Alex Marquez with his battle with Enrique Galvo, 6 Ducatis of Marini and Bezzecchi. Fabio Quartararo is 7th, and Jorge Martin, with that long lap penalty to come, is on 4 into 8th.
Vignales trying to recover from another poor start. He has gone through his teammate Aleix Espargaro halfway around this opening lap of 28 here in Austria. Already shaping up to be Bagnaia versus Binder, just as it was 24 hours ago in the sprint. Dropped down the hill through turn 9 for the first time. Through the final corner, car driver here down the ears. Second gear. Bagnaia's made the 2 perfect starts. He knows, he was aware of just how good the KTM have been off the line so far this season. But he made the dream launch. There he is, the lead at the end of the first lap.
Already as Fabio Quartararo's lost a couple of places late in that first lap. Martinez drawn in, and so too is Maverick Vignales. So Vignales looking to make up ground from what was a decent start, but a poor turn 1. He's now up behind Martin in 8th.
That penalty window now that open for Jorge Martin. He's just trying to get himself as far forward as he possibly can before he does come in. Look at that Maverick Vignales on that first lap. Pointed, he lost 6 places. Another shocking start. All the hard work he does on Friday and Saturday goes out the window before he's even clipped into second gear off the line. Back at the front then, Bagnaia still leading by a couple of bike-dimensional fingers, getting that little front end a little bit nervous on that Cater as they drop down into the hardest braking zone around the Spielberg circuit in turn number 4. Simon, you got some thoughts?
Yes, you can see Binder is really trying to attack because he's so close, and you don't want to be that close for too long because of front tyre temperature. So he's clearly aiming at trying to get in the front, get the cool air, because more than 3, maximum 4 laps there, and he'll be in trouble front tyre wise.
Yeah, it's going to be cooking up a barbecue on that front tyre. Thanks to that siren. Pecco Bagnaia, he spent the entirety of yesterday's 14-lap sprint in front, and even he said, with nobody ahead of him, he was encountering a few concerns about front tyre temperature and front tyre pressure. He's got himself in the position 8 at the moment, Bagnaia. The lead group, power out of turn number 10, the final corner. Binder just at the fastest out of the race so far, 1:33.04. Just fractionally quicker than Bagnaia directly ahead of him. We're looking now from Binder's KTM towards Bagnaia. This was where yesterday the Ducati had the big advantage. Acceleration, picking up the drive grip, coming out of those low gear corners. This is where Binder really struggled yesterday.
And Binder's having to take real risks on the brakes to try and close up to the back once again of Pecco Bagnaia. He's already a second time behind Binder to be second at the KTM of Jack Miller. Jorge Martin has not yet served that long lap penalty. He's got 3 laps to come through there. At the moment he hasn't. You can ask that why, because he and Maverick Vignales putting a little bit of a gap on the group line.
Miller now in third place, although he's coming under big pressure here from the Ducati Armada behind him. Alex Marquez, Luca Marini, Marco Bezzecchi, all on the GP22, which Jack Miller vacated at the end of last season to move to KTM. A long way to go here for Miller to make it a dream double podium in the home Grand Prix of Red Bull and KTM. Alex Marquez, who was 4th in yesterday's sprint, to complete another solid weekend. There he is in 4th spot. He's got the Marquez down in 17th place. And we're the only rider of 23 to go out there with the Michelin soft rear tyre.
It was a really tough second lap for Fabio Quartararo. He lost 4 places. We saw the move for Vinales at the start of the lap. Aleix Espargaro, Enea Bastianini and Johan Zarco also made their way through on the number 20. So Quartararo in early difficulties as Jack Miller looks set to soon relinquish third place. Very late on the brakes there in turn 1, wasn't he? And Jorge Martin does take along that penalty move, which he had problems with this morning. He's come through this time. He's safely through.
Pace hotting up at the front, no question. Bagnaia and Binder, they break into the 129s for the third time. The only 2 riders out on circuit in those 129s and already making that decisive break. In terms of the spectacle though, it's all down on Binder to try and keep par with Bagnaia at the early part of this race. Miller, Marquez, Marini, Bezzecchi were all in the sort of low to mid 130s. Bagnaia and Binder with by far the superior speed early on. Quartararo runs wide through turn number 9. The second lap, and you'll see Bastianini just easing through, and Zarco too taking places from Quartararo. He's running around at the moment in 11th place, promoted up the spot by Jorge Martin. So that long-lap penalty completely erased all that progress that Martin made on the first 2 laps. Miller still resisting Marquez directly behind one lap with Ducati. That's where Marquez is staying for next season now. Has Binder got the drive going through the corner, coming through turn number 8? He was thinking about a lunge on the inside of Bagnaia there, wasn't he? Down in that third gear, turn number 9, but Bagnaia just too good himself on the front end of that Ducati. And Pecco Bagnaia will know in the back of his mind as he sees on his pit board, sees the lap counter, Binder plus 0.1, he will know at some point that Binder's going to have some potential issues and concerns about front tyre pressure, front tyre temperature. It's imperative Bagnaia knows that he's got to keep the South African behind him.
Alex Marquez through then on Jack Miller up into third place. You can see the really beyond 46 Ducatis now queuing up behind Jack Miller. This is kind of a familiar feeling, isn't it, for the Australian? We've seen it in recent Grand Prix. He's able to get up front in qualifying and get a good start, but then he ends up reversing back down the field, and that looks like the fate of the Australian at the moment.
Yeah, Marquez has gapped him straight away. This was the move, the classic move. You get the drive through turn to the right as they come over the crest. The blind run down towards the third gear, 120 kilometres now, turn number 9. Marquez made that look easy. It certainly wasn't. And now then, with a bit of clear air in front of him, potentially just cooling down that front type. He sat behind Jack Miller for the first 3.5 laps. Alex Marquez at the moment, 1.8 seconds off your lead. Straight away there was able to put nearly half a second between himself and Miller in that third spot.
Because of that penalty, Jorge Martin is down the best part of 7 seconds off the lead. He has though made his way through on Miguel Oliveira. He's now by Fabio Quartararo, so Martin's charge has resumed.
Yeah, Jorge Martin with the long lap excursion on that previous lap. His time was at 33.6, so compared to the race leader Pecco Bagnaia, how much was the damage? Well, it was well over 3 seconds. That's how costly yesterday's first corner controversy was for Jorge Martin. Alex Marquez, having got through on Jack Miller's getting on with this, isn't he? 130.222, best lap of his race so far as Bezzecchi finds a way through now.
And Marini.
Yeah, and Marini. So Jack Miller, unfortunately, going the wrong way once again, just hasn't got the speed that he has at the start of these Grand Prix to keep the momentum going.
Next up behind Miller will be the 2 factory employees of Vinales in Aleix Espargaro. Vinales last time around did a 130.4, which is quicker than everyone ahead of him, with the exception of the leading 3.
This was the race start, and look at that superb launch that Bagnaia got from pole position. Maverick Vinales just goes the wrong way.
He's not in a bad position there, look, is he? But he just gets sandwiched into turn 1. He's got Miller on his left, Marini and Marquez on his right, and he just gets swamped.
That was a real aggressive sweep to his right there by Alex Marquez. He was rewarded for that committed move because it got him immediately up inside that top 5. Good job that by Alex Marquez. We're on board there with Marco Bezzecchi, who had all his points on the outside. Actually, that was the next game, wasn't it? Luca Marini, who got himself up into the P3. Back with the top 2 there. 22 of them, a couple of corners. 22 laps, a couple of corners in this race remaining. And the Iron at the moment still able to keep Binder behind him. Binder really hasn't been able to close up the show. Bagnaia's front wheel, just look how that rear eye-on device just drops the rear of that Ducati to pick up the acceleration grip. Override nearly a quarter of a second between Bagnaia and Binder. Alex Marquez, 1.7 seconds behind second spot.
The fastest rider on circuit at the moment is Marco Bezzecchi in 4th place. He did a 1:30.067 on that previous lap, a couple of tenths quicker than the leading pair. Bezzecchi 2.5 seconds off the lead at the moment. The podium might well be on. He's going to have a tough task ahead of him to close in on this leading pair. And of course, the big question is, how long can Brad Binder sustain this up behind Bagnaia?
Miguel Oliveira, well, he's pitting on what is the very distinctive one-off special Barbie livery for Pecco Bagnaia R&F team. He's missing quite a problem there on Brad Binder's dashboard. What we said, time management is going to be so crucial in this Austrian Grand Prix. We're on lap number 7, and the KTM factory team are already getting a message through to Brad Binder about mapping too. So already potentially changing the mappings just to try and conserve some of a potential late attack on Pecco Bagnaia.
Marquez and Marco Bezzecchi have got good pace at this stage of the race. They're pulling clear on Marini. This is the battle in 11th place. So Jorge Martin resulting on that penalty. Hasn't really gone on one further since then. Martin still up behind the factory Yamaha. He did do his personal best last time around, the 1:30.3, as quick as the race leader. But Martin is mired in a awful hot track.
Simon Claypot on the spot as always. I think he's spotted what's ruled Miguel Oliveira out of this Grand Prix. Simon, down to you.
Believe it or not, real weight, the balance in front of you. So massive vibration because they've gone. I could see where they were until clean and been blown off.
If it wasn't for rotten luck, Miguel Oliveira wouldn't have any luck at all, would he? Skittled out in that first corner collision yesterday. Third time this season he's been wiped out after Marquez and Portimao, Fabio Quartararo in Jerez. And now the loss of a wheel weight on the front tyre rules him out of this Pecco Bagnaia Grand Prix. Poor Miguel Oliveira. I just cannot catch a break at all, can he?
Don't know how many ladders he's walked under in 2023, but the bad luck continues to follow him. We're now riding on board with Marquez, who, as it stands, is on course for his first Sunday point of 2023, but still feels rather surreal, doesn't it, to be riding on board with Marquez in a battle for 13th, 14th and 15th place. He is ahead of his teammate Joan Mir now. He's up behind Frankie Morbidelli and Paul Espargaro, who's been able to make up ground after that 3-place scribble penalty, but he's now lost the place to the feisty Frankie.
Coming through was Morbidelli there, whether Paul Espargaro liked it or not. There was really not much of it, and Morbidelli then sweeps on through. Amazingly, today is 301 days since Marquez last saw a checkered flag in the Sunday Grand Prix. October 23rd, 2022 at the Malaysia Grand Prix in Sepang. A helicopter shot picks up our leaders then. Pecco Bagnaia, the factory Ducati versus Brad Binder on the factory KTM. They're both just running sort of identical pace, and Binder just can't still get close enough to think about throwing it up the inside of Bagnaia. 132 on Bagnaia, 130.3 from Binder. Simon, some more thoughts?
Yeah, I genuinely believe he's keeping that gap just to keep enough temperature, wind, fresh air on that front tyre. He tried in the beginning, couldn't get past. If he stayed that close, he would overheat it and either crash or streak backwards. So I've seen Joan Mir do it over the years. When he was on the Suzuki, won the championship, and I'm pretty sure that's what Brad is doing now. And so it means he could be trying to sit there and wait for the right time to attack.
Yeah, thanks to that, Simon. At the moment on this 9th lap, Bagnaia has taken the lead by over half a second for the first time in this race. We've just seen there Jorge Martin pick off the fast-fading Fabio Quartararo in the top 30 office for the factory Yamaha team right now. Quartararo has just lost 11th spot then on this lap number 9, and Frankie Morbidelli's teammate only in P13, having got through on the previous lap with Paul Espargaro. So no Yamahas inside the top 10. Another pretty average day to say the least for the Iwata factory.
Brad Binder has been able to come back with Bagnaia a little bit in the 3rd sector and 4th this lap, so in the end Binder was quicker than Bagnaia on the last lap, but this is the big engine turn for KTM. Jack Miller's continuing to plummet down the order. He's in the high 130s at the moment, 130.9, he did a 31.1 on the previous lap. That's 3/4 of a second slower than the leaders are going, and surely it's a matter of time before Bagnaia makes his way through into the top 6.
You shouldn't look back in anger, you shouldn't have regrets, but I'm sure Maverick Vinales has to have a couple at the end of this weekend, having started on the front row, 2nd place, awesome pace on Friday, brilliant pace, so much potential Saturday as well, but it's gone horribly wrong, just seconds after lights out in both the sprint and this Grand Prix. Recovered to 8th from last yesterday, but at the moment you feel like probably this 6th place is fighting Liverpool. Maybe as good as it's going to get, because it's a long, long way back of Luca Marini, and he's just getting maybe a little bit frustrated here. Jack Miller's so late on the brakes, isn't he? Never an easy guy to pass, and at the moment Vignales just running wide there going through turn number 4. It just gives Miller a couple of bike lengths now into this 3rd sector.
Shaking ahead on the way out of the corner as well for Maverick, so he's letting frustration get the better of him a little bit here, because he feels he's got the pace to be somewhere in here. This battle for 3rd place between Alex Marquez and Marco Bezzecchi. Last time around, very little to choose between them. In fact, Bezzecchi once again was the fastest rider on circuit. He did a 1:30.3, a tenth of a second quicker than the leader is going. So we've got an Austrian battle for 3rd place, the 73 against the 72.
Yeah, potential first dry Grand Prix podium on the Ducati here for Alex Marquez, as Maverick Vignales then finally does find safe passage through on Miller. So Vignales then up into P6. He's a long, long way back. He's got to find probably 2.5 seconds to even get close to Luca Marini, and then try and funnel him out away past the Italian, which is easier said than done with the acceleration of the Ducatis. Vignales probably won't have any concerns now about Miller. He's seen Miller come back to this group quite quickly. Miller just has not had the pace as he played top 5 months ago. You do feel that that might be as good as it's going to get for Maverick.
As far as Miller's concerned, he was back in the 31s again on that last lap, slower than everyone in that train behind him. So if Jack Miller's not careful, he might find himself slipping out of the top 10 altogether by the time this Grand Prix is all said and done. And Jorge Martin, to his credit, was showing front-running pace once again. He did his personal best last time around, 1:30.3. A potential top 6, not out of the question for Martin.
Just again on this lap number 11 of 28, still an awful long way to go in this Austrian Grand Prix. So much to think about in terms of tyre management, tyre temperature and pressure. Pecco Bagnaia on this current lap has taken a couple of tenths out of Brad Binder. His lead is at its biggest so far. Simon some more observation in this current status.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is it's okay up to a second, you know. And that's what I think a rider would want. If it goes over a second, you know that, or yeah, especially well over a second, then you know where's the problem. If you can keep it around a second and then go back in, yeah, I think he's managed it.
It's creeping up towards that second barrier, which Simon has just talked about. 0.768 was the margin over the riders. Miller continues to go the wrong way. Now picked off by another factory clear. This time around it's a later Spargo who's gone through. That's put the British Grand Prix winner up into 7th spot.
Feels like in the Grand Prix at the moment. Jack Miller's fighting a rear guard action after qualifying relatively high up the grid. He's now dropping backwards. He's in 8th place at the moment. Pecco Bagnaia, though, at the front, is just doing such a good job. He's just managing that pace, continuing to just hammer away in the low 130s as his teammate Bastianini is trying to make his way through on the fading Miller. But Bagnaia is just managing this as he wants, and just doing the lap times and asking Brad Binder, can you match it?
Their bikes inside the top 4. Alex Marquez is having to fight really, really hard, isn't he, for this 4th place. He would not have to work too much harder for a 4th spot than this. Just something for Pecco Bagnaia to keep his attention on. He has just received a late track limits warning. Other than that, it's been a picture-perfect Austrian Grand Prix for the world champion so far, who on this lap 25 of 28 now has what is going to be an unassailable lead of over 5 seconds. Only Bagnaia dropping the ball now is going to cost him another 25 points.
At the moment, Bagnaia's been so good that he could afford a long lap penalty and still maintain the lead so far up the road. He is. Binder did respond to Bezzecchi on that last lap after losing half second on the lap before. A 31.7 for him. He only lost a couple of tenths to Marco Bezzecchi, so as long as Brad's going to any more late tyre trouble, he should be okay. Alex Marquez is about to lose all place, although he's fighting back as Valentino Rossi cheers his half-brother on. Alex Marquez says, not just yet, Luca.
Marquez versus the Rossi family. We've seen that a few times, haven't we, down the years? Take up old rivalries. We'll leave it to the current stars, the current generation. Marini then briefly through on the Gresini Ducati. You feel now, though, that even if he is able to find a way through, the podium's gone, because Marco Bezzecchi has streaked away in convincing fashion here. The gap between Bezzecchi and Marquez is 1.7 seconds. And Marini also now finds a way through. Just got a better engine, a better acceleration but didn't even need to wait to have a risky move on Marquez up the hill into turn one, did he? So Bezzecchi and Marini keeping the boss very, very happy. He's loving his life in the Austrian sunshine is Valentino Rossi, because now his boys P3 and P4.
And Alex Marquez now needs to just batten down the hatches here and just make sure he gets to the checkered flag in 5th place, because on that last lap, while he was battling with Marini, he lost over half a second to Viñales further back. Viñales running sick, he's 1.7 seconds back down the road. You can just see him there at the back of the picture. So I think that Alex Marquez just needs to make sure now that he consolidates 5th, because any more mistakes or any more shenanigans, and he could come under the pressure.
Really good rescue job this by Marco Bezzecchi after the disappointment of being wiped out of the sprint yesterday, just 300 metres into that 14-lap battle. He's going to score some valuable points in the World Championship here. As we follow the World Champion, I'm sure post-race Davide Tardozzi is going to be strolling up to our camera with the number one, the numero uno, as he so often likes to do, because what can you say about the performance of this man? He's going to, without any question, by any disaster, let drama continue the captain's domination here in Austria. Just look at that consistency. Lap 3, a 129.8 to keep Brad Binder at bay. And it was a real burst from lap 17 onwards, even though he was lap 17 to lap 21 was the key phase of this 28-lap race. That's when he broke Binder's brave resistance. Binder's going to have a safe ride to second place. He broke over a late long lap penalty for repeated exceeding track limits. Brad Binder's given his all. He's thrown everything at Pecco Bagnaia, both in the sprint yesterday and in the main Grand Prix today, but he's just going to come up short. Second place in both, though, the front row start and a new 2-year contract for 2025 and 2026. Is that worse for you, Ken? Let's be honest.
In terms of Brad Binder, it's a reminder of how far KTM have come, but also how far they still have to go, because Pecco Bagnaia has made it very clear today, hasn't it? The benchmark that they need to reach. Paul Espargaro is now also going to make long laps, presumably for the same thing. He'd also received a chat this morning. That's likely to cost him a World Championship point to his teammate, Mr. Fernandez.
So we're on board then with Brad Binder. The KTM fans are on their feet. The orange army, as they always are here in the Red Bull Ring in Austria, out in 4th. They'd have been hoping that this man could have repeated his heroics of 2021, but unfortunately he is not going to do so because of this man's brilliance, this man's genius. We're on the last lap then here in the Picto Data Grand Prix of Austria, and the data in the record books will show a convincing and commanding win for factory captain star Pecco Bagnaia. Start assist final lap, 5.5 seconds clear of Binder. Safe second, a lonely second for the South African. Likewise, in turn, it's going to be a lonely 3rd place for Marco Bezzecchi. Would it be a different story for him? All this box was a baby, of course, and he's not started 7th. And then had to work so hard, spent so long to get through on the hard-charging Alex Marquez. But it looks like after his sprint disappointment, there's a podium on offer here for Bez.
If you're looking out for some late drama, your best bet is probably for 5th and 6th. Alex Marquez is continuing to lose time to Maverick Viñales, who's another rider who will look back up this weekend as what might have been. Through the first sector, Viñales has been able to close that gap to under a second, but unless we get a late mistake from Marquez, Viñales might have to settle for 6th place.
Davide Tardozzi looking rather pensive with the fingers crossed. He's got no need to worry. No problemo whatsoever for the number one. The epitome of cool and composed. This has been one of the most dominant performances of Pecco Bagnaia's Grand Prix career. It's a half-century, 50 career podiums coming up then for Pecco Bagnaia. Utter domination. Ducati reigns supreme once again.